the last 6 years, I've been a full-time carer to my eldest daughter, Isabel, and as a result had to stop working as a primary school teacher in a job that I loved. In 2014, shortly after the birth of my second child, my daughter Isabel, who was 3 at the time, was suddenly and very unexpectedly diagnosed with a rare degenerative brain disease. Batten's disease, and more specifically for Isabel, late infantile Batten's, is in essence a form of childhood dementia. There is no cure, and children with the disease die in childhood. Isabel was a healthy girl who at the time was experiencing some very minor health issues, but within months of her diagnosis, she rapidly started to lose all her skills, and by the time she was 6, she was fully reliant upon us for all her care needs. Isabel is now 11, and she is unable to walk, talk or eat and is fed via gastrostomy. She's blind, she suffers from complex seizures, movement disorders and has severe respiratory issues. Her health is very fragile and she is now mostly bedbound. She requires 2-to-1 nursing support 24 hours a day to keep her comfortable, and she is no longer able to leave the home. She hasn't been in school for over 5 years due to the complexity of her health needs, and in essence her bedroom has become a hospital room. Our wish is for her to die in the comfort of her own home, and sadly that time is fast approaching. Batten's disease has affected every part of our lives and that of all our children in such an overwhelming way. It would be impossible for most to comprehend just how challenging it is to manage the needs of a child who will die, a child who will live a very short life, especially when their needs become so overwhelming to manage. We've been on a very long and very hard journey with this disease, and the situation we find ourselves in at the moment is actually very, very complex. Together for Short Lives kindly asked me here today to share my experiences in light of the current crisis around the cost of living. I'll do that now, but I do wish to make it really clear that we've been living with a crisis in managing our daughter's care for a number of years now, due to the inadequate services in place to support children who have palliative care needs. The cost of living crisis has only exacerbated the issue by adding to the already huge burden placed upon us. Isabel is reliant upon an extensive range of equipment, essential equipment that helps to manage symptoms and keep her comfortable at home, surrounded by her family who love her, and where we can all spend as much time with her as possible. We use a machine to constantly monitor Isabel's blood oxygen saturation level and heart rate. She has very frequent suction and nebulizers, in addition to a machine for chest vibrations and a cough assist machine. She also requires pressurized humidified air and oxygen therapy via an Optiflow machine. The air in her room is also filtered via an air purifying machine to help reduce symptoms related to dust and pollen. She has 2 electric profiling beds, one so she can leave her bedroom, and a height adjustable bath. And she is hoisted throughout the day and night. She struggles to regulate her temperature, which means that we need the heating on in our home more often. She also uses an electric heated blanket day and night now, and we frequently use hot water bottles or microwavable pads to heat areas of her body to reduce pain and relax her muscles. In summer, fans and even an air conditioning unit is now required in extreme heat. To help manage her pain and improve her quality of life, and because Isabel is housebound, we manage a hard-shelled hydrotherapy tub in our garden, which requires heating all year round, as well as needing an outdoor electric hoist. Due to the demands of Isabel's care needs, we also have a large quantity of equipment and consumables, which we have no storage room for in our house. A few years ago, we had to raise funds for an outdoor storage cabin, which we then have to heat to prevent damp and obviously keep those supplies safe. And then in addition to all of this, there's the extra demands placed on us in our home, frequent washing and drying of bed linen to support reflux and continence issues. Isabel has a fully blended diet, and we have to use a high-powered blender to ensure her food is smooth. And then finally, there's this sort of hidden pressure that's placed upon us in managing a hospital in our home, nurses and carers who are there 24/7. There's lighting and heating and hot water which are required day and night. There's frequent hand washing, washing and sterilising of equipment, as well as even the use of the toilet throughout the day and night. I'm not sure, if I'm honest, I've covered it all, but I hope I've given you some idea of quite the overwhelming pressure placed upon us when it comes to our energy consumption alone. We know that it exceeds that of an average household, and we know that there are no, cost-saving exercises that will change that for us. The rising costs means we face a crisis in managing our daughter's care, and we're not alone in that. We have many sleepless nights now worrying about the rising debt that we have with our energy supplier. In a desperate attempt to improve finances this winter, we will remove our daughter's access to hydrotherapy. And I find that, out of anything, very deeply upsetting. It's the only place that she's now pain-free, and it's the only place where I can hold her now. We've had to rely upon one wage, with limited access to benefits for the last 6 years. The high rate of disability living allowance, which once felt like a lifeline, now feels completely inadequate. We have turned to our local NHS clinical commissioning group. We've turned to our local authority as well, and in the past we thought that we would see what support could be provided, but our attempts have been fruitless. Having fought tirelessly for years to increase the nursing support we receive, we now find ourselves wondering if we can sustain caring for Isabel at home. I feel she deserves the right to die in the comfort of familiar surroundings, held by those who love and care for her. And as her mum, I will do anything, absolutely anything in my power to make that happen. I hope today, by sharing my lived experiences, that I've provided you with a detailed insight. As a parent, it's not often that you're given an opportunity like this, so thank you. Thank you for allowing me to share.